Chris Billy, Huddersfield Town. The most famous goal of Chris Billy's life.
Is this the moment for Lee Fowler? It is. Take your place in Division 2, Huddersfield Town.
And Steve Simonson's boots now. He's missed. Steve Simonson clears the frame of the goal and collapses in a heap of tears. Huddersfield Town are promoted.
Mustafa Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. And he takes that chance!
Hi everyone and welcome to episode 107 of the Huddersfield Town Social Blackpool Towers, part of the Andy Takes That Chance network. After a week off, we are back, and what fun I had on Saturday afternoon. The first minute started with good enthusiasm. After a short while fumbling for the opening, a couple of misfires brought on an all too familiar, hesitant and flaccid performance. They took control and dominated physically, turning us over, pegging us back and slotting twice through the back door. There were audible groans and it was certainly uncomfortable. We had to do something, and what better way to spice things up than to add some new faces. After turning them back over, we raised our energy, pushing, probing deeper and deeper until bang, we finally smashed one in. It looked like it was all over until one last surge, a nice bit of ball play leading to a head powering through their gaping hole at the back, ensuring a fantastic climax and sun relief all round. Sometimes it's not about how you start, it's how you finish. What an incredible game of football at the AQ. Huddersfield Town 2, Blackpool 2 was the final score then, but was that draw enough against a team with such poor away form? Has our final top two hopes finally been extinguished? And are you happy with the transfer business this January? Comment in the chat and have your say tonight. I'm your host, as always, Nick Barlow. And joining me this evening will be Mr. Grounded Gas K, Mr. Positive Andy K, Mr. Collected Tristan Batley Kyle, and unfortunately, Mr. Podcast Moneybags Ian Kilroy is unavailable as we won't be paying him for this episode. Yeah.
He can fire into comments though, can't he? Look at him. He's there.
He's piling in already. Look at him. Eh?
You know, not too tired to do that. I bet he was too tired to do his bike ride today. Show me your Strava, pal. 16 miles in these legs today. Clipped in. Get in. I'm on cloud
He's
now.
fine, Andy, doesn't he? He's going to have to practice, isn't he? It's coming up, isn't it?
Oh, I cycled around Europe once.
It's size your legs, Andy. 16
Oh,
miles.
a year ago, mate.
16 miles on your legs is like 32, isn't it? They're that small.
Hey, I know. And if you want to look at my Strava, 20% better than I was 6 years ago.
You must
Fine
be
wine.
Really bad. 6 years ago, really bad.
Yeah.
Oh, good to see you.
Bar.
In ball, mate. Good evening to you, Richard Croft. Evening, mate. Killer. What are you on about, mate? He's already in the comments, lads, isn't he? He can't be bothered to come on.
I think it would sale, Killer, that shirt, looking at it.
That's my missus's. So I thought it was appropriate, seeing as how he was outstanding for the brief time he was on Saturday. So let's get the lad represented.
I'm so excited. I'm going to buy one of them AQ baseball caps in just to show some extra little bit of allegiance. You know what I mean? I'm that excited with how it's going at the moment. But like, guys, let's get into it then. So obviously the Luton and Peterborough games have been and gone, haven't they? No one gives a toss anymore. But seeing as we haven't covered them because we missed that week, Tris, I'll come to you, mate. That Luton game. Me, Andy, Gaz, we watched on telly, but you were there, mate. Just very briefly talk us through it, your thoughts on it, how we did. Obviously, the red card as well.
Yeah. Briefly, crap ref, crap decision, good goal.
Brilliant.
Covered.
Well done. Thank you.
Right.
Next.
No, the ref. I think it kind of staked his claim early, and there was poor decision after poor decision, and I know people will be shouting a little bit like the City and Liverpool game yesterday. Where arguably we'd have just been happy watching the ball going back at net, a lad not being sent off, and that'd be the end of it. I think there was a situation where May has he pulled on Casey Palmer's hair? Yeah, he has. You know, he's caught his hair and he has. There's an action of kind of pulling it. Have they meant to? I don't think so. I think he's tried to grab his shoulder and has caught his hair and his kind of momentum has pulled his hair. I think the booing of Casey Palmer was the disappointment that he ran straight to the ref and basically grassed up. You know, it just, it's not something that you do. You know, and let's be honest, letter of the law, if the ref was that good at his job, he'd have booked Casey Palmer for going up to him and asking for a yellow card. You know, for a card, and you know, there'd have been a bit more vindication in it. Yeah, it ruined the game, didn't it? It stopped the momentum. It's 29 minutes in, and you know, fair play to Town and to Manning and his coaching staff. You know, and I think it's fair to say we've seen this quite a bit in his first 4 games. He's had to shuffle things and make a difference with his lads on the pitch and with his lads off the pitch, and it were a masterstroke that I don't think many people were calling for. Throwing Kasumu on pitch and, you know, and his energy up front, or kind of off the back of Dion Charles was a bit of a masterstroke. So, you know, he had to deal with a bit of adversity, kind of 2 players, Bojan and May, kind of getting taken out of the game inside 5 minutes, and he changed it, and he went left field, and it was clever, and it was everything that we needed, you know, and we had other chances that were, you know, possibly not directly, but indirectly were because Kasumu's energy and pressing and movement. And I think interestingly, and I know I'm skipping the Peterborough game here, but you know, it were a massive, it was so noticeably different on Saturday against Blackpool that Kasumu then wasn't in that role, and Humphreys played in that role. But then, you know, I think the bit that we all want to talk about is what a finish, you know. And my uncle said to me at the time, under Grant is passing that sideways, facetiously, and to be honest with you, I'm not certain he's that wrong. You know, he might not have passed it sideways. I definitely don't think he'd have tried it. You know, and I think that is the effect that Manning's had on all of the players. And you know, we spoke about it after the Bradford game, what effect he seemed to have on the players. We've now seen him for a further 3 games, and yeah, okay, we'll come on to it, and we'll talk about a bit of a passive first half against Blackpool. You know, I think he clearly has had a massive impact on the lads, and we rode out the storm, and we just looked so much better, kind of positionally, and we came out with a win. So, you know, it's definitely a result, and I know so many people have said it, and so many will say it again. It's a result that we wouldn't have got under Grant.
No, and we looked like a team, Tris, didn't we?
Absolutely,
exactly as we did against Bradford.
Yeah.
What I was really encouraged by was there was that determination to not give in the face of adversity. Because to me, mate, I mean, I think I put it on the WhatsApp. I was hoping that it would get reduced to a 1 game for unsporting behaviour because it wasn't intentional. Because I just thought 4 games for that is insane. Because obviously he's not meant to do it, but it's rigid protocol in it. There's no common sense as there are in a lot of establishments. It's protocol, and that's it. We move on. But yeah, I just thought that the work rate, the togetherness, the goals, but every time you see it, it gets better. The angle from behind it, it looks good from the side, but when you look behind it and the swerve on it, it's brilliant, isn't it? It's the only goal that I can remember being perhaps slightly better or technically better is that Tony Carr's goal from a corner against Torquay when he volleyed it in. That's the only goal I think comes close to it. Really, it was brilliant, and for it to hang on, like you said, Tris, I think Bolker has a good chance with an header. Really should bury at least one of them. I think he has 2 chances, but to hold out and get the result after going down to 10 men like that, it just wouldn't have happened before. So, and then we're going to Peterborough, and you're looking at it. Peterborough really picked up actually in decent form, and you look at the result, the recent result, bounced straight back after we beat them. But Gaz, I'll come to you, mate, because you went, didn't you? You and Andy, and always nice trip to Peterborough, innit? I think it's always a nice ground to go to. But I was a bit apprehensive because I know they'd been playing, they'd had a real uptake in form, so this was a potential banana skin. How did it play out, mate? Come on.
Yeah, well, I think, and you're picking on Trish's point, really. I think what Manning did do for the majority of the game was he got the setup absolutely bang on. We pressed high, but we pressed with real energy. You know, Kasumu came in and played sort of left of the front three almost. And his energy on the afternoon really caused Peterborough problems. And we scored a couple of really tidy, really nice goals. You know, we played some really nice stuff. And I think we're also going to talk about the game on Saturday in a minute. And I think in a similar way that probably Manning didn't quite get it right in the first half up to an hour on Saturday, you could probably say the same about their manager. I was talking to some Peterborough fans on the way out, and we could hear him over saying that he'd got it wrong. There are a couple of lads who've been banging form, and he decided to change the shape, took them out, and they struggled for an hour until he changed the shape back again and dropped those lads in when they started to compete. I also thought we looked, the last half an hour, I thought we were running on empty. Them 2 games playing, well over an hour with 10 men against Luton and most of a half with 10 men against Bradford. You could see that was starting to really take an effect on the team. But Manning made changes. When he saw tiredness in the players, he made the right subs at the right time. Whereas we were bemoaning Grant's last game at Burton, where we had 2 or 3 that looked bollocks. He left them on. And then before you know it, bang bang, we let 2 goals in. So yeah, it was a great afternoon. And obviously when the winner goes in, I haven't felt like that in the away end for very long time, 3 or 4 seasons at least. We were on the end of the row. And when it goes in, me and Connor jumps up. Connor half steps to his left. So he's into the aisle. And when I look back, he's gone. But he got swept up by about 40 lads coming from the back of the stand to the front to celebrate. And I'm looking down and he's like, celebrate with a load of strangers. I mean, when was the last time we felt like that in a game? And a draw was probably a fair result, in my opinion. But one moment of quality from Cam Humphries and some absolutely abysmal defending by their guys absolutely won it. But yeah, it was, that they're the afternoons you want, 2-0 up, back to 2-2, win it 3-2, tough place to go. We have a bit of a gripe with Peterborough generally anyway, don't we? But yeah, it was a great afternoon, and it was like the old times were back, Nick. It was great.
And every single game we've had under Manning, we've come up against some form of adversity, haven't we? And to be 2-0, to be pegged back to 2-2, but then to have the character to go again and push for the winner rather than just try and sit back and defend is brilliant, isn't it? That's what we've all been craving. That's all we want, is from just to have a go and try and win the game. And when you've trailed all that way, you've paid your money, that's exactly what you want to see as a fan. So look, 3 wins from 3, innit? At this point, I'm thinking, bummer neck. Couldn't go any better against 3 tough games as well. They're not easy games, are they? So it just shows what a difference Manning's made in such a short space of time. Do we have to put a little bit of this on the players as well? I mean, I don't want to just go all out slating Grant with this, guys, because these are the same players at the end of the day. Yeah, I think quite a few of them just weren't performing for him, were they? And they look like different players at the moment.
No, I don't want to go all Ian Kilroy on you, but I think that the way that Manning's setting them up, we talked about this the other week, with the simple instruction he's giving them, he's making such a difference. And we'll talk about Saturday's game in a minute. And I think that was part of our problem on Saturday was it was almost like Grant was back the way we set up and did a few bits. But yeah, it's a real dilemma, isn't it? Real dilemma. As you're out saying it, they're the same players. So sorry, Andy, you were going to say something.
Well, I just I'm recalling another ex-Town manager, Danny Cowley, said simplicity is genius, and it stuck with me that because I think Grant overcomplicated. You know, I was a Grantling. I like the guy, but I think he overcomplicated it, and I think they now know what's expected of them. And I also think that Manning has raised the standards as well, expected on and off the pitch. He just seems to have an intensity about him. I don't know if you watched that Unrestricted that got released. You know, that our soap opera thing that Town do, and he just seems to, when he got shown into his office, you could see him looking around, going, "Is this it? Is this?" You could see he wasn't impressed immediately, and he's there to raise the standards. So I've got a lot of time for that, and he talks really well in his press conferences. He's done a good job of it today. But for me, I think he's just simplified it so they know what's expected of them. You know, that team talk that Ledson did before the Bradford game, the little huddle. You know, you get in, you win your tackles, you win your challenges, you get it forward, and you get after it. And that's what we've been doing to a greater or lesser extent. So I just think that's a lot of it has to be laid at Manning on his staff's door. And the stuff at Peterborough, I really enjoyed the Liam Manning era so far. Every game that I've watched, even the one on Saturday when we were 2-0 down, there was something in it. There was an energy, there's a passion there that hadn't been there for quite some time. You know, they talked about in Unrestricted about there being some heat from the stands towards Grant's team. You know, rightly so. But I think he's done a fantastic job in turning it around as well. So just Peterborough was just a really good do. I thought the away end did a fantastic job. It was really lively in there, you know, all the way through. I was similar. I was an old man nearly sat on me when that third one went in because he got pushed by a load of blokes and there were arms and legs everywhere. It was just really, really good. So, you know, good times are back. And I think I'm not so sure about whether I think we deserved the win overall. You know, they had 30 minutes where they really did just kick back in, like he says, when whatever the Peterborough manager's name is, sorry, I can't remember his name, has changed it round and played it how we should have played it from the start. But that's not our problem, is it? You know, the downside for me was Boothie was there, Izzy Brown was there, so you know it was good. I saw Boothie in the pub beforehand, and I tried to make a joke, and he didn't get it. And you know when you just think, he's just sat there going, "What? That wasn't funny."
That's what we all do, Andy, every time.
Just like the audience on here, like me.
Every time you post your WhatsApp group, that's all.
Yeah.
He's fucking on about it.
You've got me muted. I'd have me muted, me. I've muted other lot, and he takes that chance. They're on mute. Sorry, lads. But it's you know, you just want like one of your heroes, you try and make a joke and it don't land. And poor lad would just sat there going,
What? Well, you know what they say, Manning's living to be unclear is to be unkind, and clearly you were unclear when it came to telling Boothie your joke, which makes it unkind.
My joke, it was a shit joke as well. So I just felt a bit better. It got better from there. That's the first time I've been to Peterborough. So I was, it was. I'd never been before. A good old school ground. There was a little bit of an edge around the stadium, I thought, both going and coming away. And then I did a spectacular fall coming out of the ground and scared the living daylights out of a young Peterborough fan who thought I was trying to nick a bag because I sort of grabbed out and fell over on the floor. My lad's laughing his head off. And, you know, it'll come to you all, lads. It'll come to you all. But
be careful at your age. If you break your leg, that's it.
That's it. I'll be like Piers Morgan sat there with like my top half looking smart and not one underneath and my legs hanging off here. Being a rate taking, as we say in town. So, I think it were a good do. I obviously didn't watch the Luton game in the stadium like Tristed, but yeah, just good. It's good. It's better. So, you know, pleased.
You can tell it's good because we haven't got as many viewers. It's only ever when we're really struggling, everyone's fuming, that we get hundreds and hundreds. We haven't got as many. Tells you that we must be doing all right. Go on, Tristan.
Hey, Jed's here. Look, Jed's here. There he is, all the way from to the side at World. And none of us are Malcolm Murgatroyd from Mythen Royd. None of us are that. character.
Well, all I'm going to say is you never see Gaz when he comes on. That's all I'm going to say. So,
I was just
Go on,
going to
Tris.
say, I think Manning just seems to have given them some belief. I think there was a lot of uncertainty, with that many players in the squad under Grant. I think he's just given them certainty and confidence that, there's a lot more consistency in within the teams that he picks. It's not loads and loads of changes. There seems to be a message there. It's your place, and you're going to keep it, sort of thing.
Well, what I like, he said in the press conference today, he said that if you're not in the team, then your job is to help the lads that are in the team, particularly on the Friday. But what they will then do is help you try and get the other lad's place. And they'll tell the other lad, you're in the team, but we are now helping somebody else try and get your place. So there's that continuous sort of escalation almost of performance sheet up that absolutely nobody can sit on the laurels. So I'm going to Virtue Game tomorrow night, and I'm whoever turns out, they might have got the shirt and they'll be trying to keep it. So, and I really like the way that he put it today, because I like, we appreciate that if you're rocking here and you've got your lip out. He didn't say this, but you've got your lip out and you're a bit grumpy because you're not getting picked. Tough shit. We won't have you. We'll find somebody else who will do the thing that we want you to do. So yeah, and it talks a lot about behaviours, and it's a bit high performance podcast stuff and your top 3 non-negotiables and all that type of thing. But there's the odd grantism that pops in. But I just like his intensity, and I like his straightforwardness as well, and his honesty. So yeah, I was a bit meh when he was appointed because I didn't know a lot about him, maybe going on the Norwich results and what have you. But yeah, impressed, very impressed.
It's less David Brent than it was under Grant.
It was, yeah.
3 non-negotiable behaviours. That's only 3 things they've got to think about. Not 27 behaviours.
27.
But it is, isn't it? And these are real
gotcha.
Right. It's give it your all when you're playing. Be professional. These are things that the lads can understand, and they don't need it translating for them. They know what being professional is. They've got to turn up on time. They've got to give 100% in training. They've got to treat everybody with respect. This stuff is basics, and I think that's always the challenge when you've got a team full of multi-million, and even at our level, some of these guys are multi-millionaires, aren't they? Even at our level, and trying to engage them and get them to behave in a way that acts in congruence with those of us who have to get up in the morning and do 12 hours. It works. So it's like I'm struggling to find a negative so far in his tenure. And I'm with you, Andy. I think it's been a great start, and hopefully, when you look at the games that are coming, we could be a juggernaut here if he gets this right.
I was chatting to a lad who coaches locally and has kind of an academy and that at grassroots locally, and he's done quite a bit. He's been at Man City and places like that. And I was chatting to him the other day, and I said, there's such a big difference between the two. And he said, the thing is, at that level, everyone's capable of coaching and coaching the effectively from a handbook. He said, but the difference is the people that can manage people, and we couldn't have had any clearer kind of example of it, could we? It's so clear to see that Grant absolutely turned us all off. We people wouldn't listen to his press conferences, to the point where people were criticising the club and the questions that were being asked of the club, by the club to Grant, and he'd just bore you to tears. That's died down because Manning actually is somebody interesting to listen to. He's got something interesting to say. He's not lad who I was talking to laughed his head off when I said, Grant just seemed like he was regurgitating an FA handbook. And he said, there's so many like that. There are so many like that. And the difference is those who actually can manage people.
And it's easy to do that when you maybe not got that confidence, is to just blind people with terminology, rather than keep it straight talking. And Manning showed the fans actions speak louder than words, I always say. That's what we've seen, haven't we? We were hoping for a change, and we've seen it visibly, not just in the results, but in the performances.
Yeah.
So I think if we hadn't have started well, his interviews were probably great on some still, because he's not a massive personality. But I like his interviews. I'm with you, Andy. I think they're really informative without going over the top. I think he's probably straight talking in there. Obviously, we don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but he seems like a good bloke, and he seems like he knows what he's doing, more importantly. So, and that's all you want, isn't it? I think he's probably as good as what we could have got at this level for the position that we're in. But let's have a look at some comments then. So Chris Watson, he thinks we're going to run it close in the playoffs, but maybe just fall short. I don't know, mate. I guess it depends on injuries, doesn't it? That's going to be the problem for Town, like it always is every season. When it comes to crunch, we end up getting some injuries, and we'll talk about some in a minute when we talk about this Blackpool game. But James Murgatroyd, hello, mate. Good to see you again. Sounds now with Markham in charge, his remit was to make clear what the fans actually want to see. Manning has agreed to it. Dave here says, too inconsistent all season, way too many points dropped at home against these sort of teams. Fancy our chances in the playoffs with Manning. Jed says 2 games away from Wembley, absolutely. And we'll look ahead to that game later on. And it is, although people, they do make fun of the competition, don't they? But, it's a game at Wembley at the end of the day, up for grabs. Chance to win a bit of silverware, which, let's be honest, Huddersfield Town, the chance of winning many major cup competitions is slim to zero. So, this is a legitimate chance to win some silverware. Harry says, Norwich to one side, Manning has been relatively successful wherever he's been a head coach, absolutely. And sometimes you have the odd position, he just don't work out, does it? But every single manager has been sacked at some point and had a bit of a slump. Chris says here, as a fan, I can totally back Manning. He has been through adversity in his professional and personal life. He comes across as positive and determined, proper terrier principles. Michael Bottomley, hiya, mate. Good to see you again. Evening, lads. Hope you're all okay. We are, mate. It's nice to be positive for a change and talk about positive, not just results, but performances. Jed says, what more? Apparently back on the grass. We need him. Yes, we do, mate. Especially with your mate, Andy Jolo, being sidelined. And he is one that we definitely could have used for this Blackpool game.
Listen
Andy
to you
looking
now,
well smug as all those doubters
you're all giving
earlier
it.
in the season are
Jolo
all...
shit. Now look at you all begging for the return of the Colossus that is Jolo. Sponsored by AKLD Training.
Ben England, evening, mate. Good to see you as always. Thanks for listening. Right.
Nick, can I say something?
Yeah, no, you can't,
right.
guys. It's not your place, mate, to say it on it. I'm in charge of this.
I asked for like
You did. I just talked over you before, so you've been much more polite than I am.
Just that comment to Harry and Chris about Manning, and I don't know if I said this last time we were on. I'm getting old, so I can't remember, but I honestly believe without his Norwich disaster, Manning wouldn't be with us. I don't think he would have dropped to this level without having had such a tough time at Norwich. I think he wants to prove himself, and actually, I think that shows a bit of humility, willing to drop a level, because there's plenty who've been at that level think, no, fuck it, I'm a championship manager, I'm not going anywhere. Because let's be honest, we were saying not long ago, who on earth would take this car crash on? Yeah. So you have to give him some due, don't you? And I think you're right. He's obviously had his lot of adversity in his private life as well with the loss of his son. So I'm not sure we'd have got him without the challenge that came at Norwich. And I think clearly and you saw that a bit on the Unlimited thing you were about, Andy. He's clearly a man that's got a chip on his shoulder that wants to prove the point. And if he proves the point by getting us promoted, then we're all winners.
Yeah. But that's the flip side of that. That is the worry for me. If he does, how long do we keep him? But I'll happily cross that bridge if and when it comes to it. But that's been his track record, hasn't it? He's gone. He's been successful, and then he's gone, and he's trying to improve his career. He's a young fella, and he's 40, but so he's got plenty left.
he spoke, Andy, in his interview on arrival about wanting to build some. You know, he's done those bits around.
Yeah.
You know, going at clubs and trying to better himself, and he spoke about actually trying to be at a club and build something. You know, and there is a point. You know, just like we get a reputation for sacking managers, managers get a reputation, don't they, for jumping ship, or for going somewhere. I think you bang on there, Gaz, with what you said. You know, look at someone like Steve Cooper that kind of did a decent job at Swansea, did a fairly decent job at Forest, albeit with a bit of money, completely nosedived at Leicester, and is now is it Bromby or somewhere like that? You know, and it's like, well, it seems like he can't be, he couldn't take a job that's any lower than, yeah. I think fair play to Manning. I think he's kind of acknowledged, I'm gonna have to go again, and actually, in reality, it's probably a decent club to do it at, isn't it?
Yeah. If he gets us up to Championship and stabilises, he can go in. My bless him, mate. That's
Absolutely
more than we could hope for when he came. Do you know what I mean? So if he ends up going, we must have done well. We must have done well for him to be poached. So
do you know, Nick? I think you're spot on there, and I think I can't remember how long ago we were talking about this, but we were talking about it with players, weren't we? And going back to that kind of ethos or that mantra of bringing players in, accepting, a bit like we did with Pilkingtons and people like that, where we brought a player in, Rhodes, that had potential, accepted that long term they were going to go, but they got us to a point. And I think you're completely right. I think, if we can accept that with Manning, and accept that he can get us to a point, consolidate us, and then we build again, that's surely the whole idea of what we're trying to achieve.
Yeah, definitely. If Malcolm was open to it, would you have him on the pod? Do you know what, John? We'd have anyone on here, mate, because it's the town social. There's nobody excluded from coming on here, mate. We'd welcome anyone with open arms. We're not a closed book. We're not the Andy Takes That Chance main pod. Do you know what I mean? We're oh no, he didn't. We're open to anybody. We're
Listen,
open to anybody getting on here.
There's only one out of us four, Nick, who've been on the main one and had an invite, and it ain't me, you, or Tris, is it?
Well, they're not going to have me on.
No,
I've just talked bollocks. They're
he didn't get a second go though, Nick, did he?
No,
not yet.
No, one and done.
But I won't now. I wouldn't thought.
Not now you muted them all on WhatsApp, man. Now they know that.
It's just on the millions of messages. I can't cope with it. So they'll go quiet for about 2 hours, and then you'll come back and there'll be 400.
Well,
so I love them to
bits. There is one member of the Takes That Chance podcast people team who puts voice notes on a WhatsApp. I hate voice notes on WhatsApp. Why do you put the pressure on me to have to listen to it? If you type it out and I choose not to read it, don't matter, right? But if you put it on, I've got to listen to it.
I've got to listen to it because you never know.
I have to listen to your talking. Why can't you type it and then I can choose whether I read it or not? Sorry.
Are you all right, guys?
Sorry.
Sorry, we love our big brothers,
we
really,
do,
don't we?
We
love them all.
We do. Yeah.
Harry says, if I'm sat here in 2 or 3 years and we are stable mid-table championship side and Manning is poached by a bigger club, I'd take that now. I would as well, Harry, 100%. Absolutely. Jed's asking signings, but yeah, I don't know about Hardy Fernie's medical at Bolton. You get all sorts of rumours, don't you? Saying they're in for him and then not, and what have you. We'll talk about the transfer window in a minute. Let's get on to Blackpool though, because we're already half an hour in here. So let's crack on. So, look, Blackpool, 5 defeats in the last 6 for Blackpool. 5 defeats in the last 6 for Blackpool. They're second bottom in the away form table, right? So, forgive me for thinking that this really is a game that we probably should be winning. No Alves in the team, which surprised me a little bit. I thought it might have. I don't know what's going on there, guys, with Will Alves. He doesn't seem to favour him. To me, I mean, every time I've seen him, he looks really dangerous. He looks one of our most creative players. And I'm really surprised he's not being given a run-in. But obviously, I don't see what goes on in training. No Sorensen either, which I thought would have been useful. Obviously, he came on later.
Yeah.
But
he has talked about Alves. Sorry, Nick. He has talked about Alves today in the press conference. He said that he likes him, but he didn't feel there's been any sort of game situation to put him in. So there's been 2 where we'd be down to 10 men, and that's clearly not his bag, is it? And then I think he preferred Humphreys because the pitch at Peterborough, if you remember, guys, it was slippy as a slippy thing. So whether or not you'd have been, it's been
slippy as a slippy thing.
I couldn't think of an analogy to go with that there, so I just repeated the same word and put it on the end of it. It works quite well. I don't think that was his type of pitch to play on. It just because he goes around at a spinning top, doesn't he? He's one of these that he'll beat a man, then he'll beat him again. It reminds me of my lad when he first started out playing. He'd try and beat the same player 15 times, and I think he's not as a direct as he might want him to be. So I'm certain he'll play tomorrow night. So yeah, again, there's pressure on him, isn't there? If he wants to make the best of his loan, it's not going to be handed to him on a plate because he said in that little snippet of the speech that he did in the Unrestricted, everybody's got. Well, I think it was Markham that said it wasn't Manning. He said everybody's got a fresh start. Everybody's got a new chance. So he's got to go from what he does and what he sees in training, and that's the only reason that I can think that. I mean, he said that he wasn't a match situation to play him, but I think it's an element of he's such a tricky player that it's not as direct as he might want him to be. So I think that's the reason that he's probably not making it onto the pitch at the minute. But let's see what he can do tomorrow night. I mean, I really love watching the guy. I think he's really exciting. So I'm looking forward to seeing him play tomorrow night.
I think the way the game panned out on Saturday as well. As we'll talk about the changes and the subs and stuff, because Manning's had some quite rightly had some praise for that. I think with the changes he made, he was left with one sub, and it was I guess it was a choice between Alves and Ashia, and he went with Ashia, and actually that turned out to be a genius decision, didn't it? The guy scored the winner, so there is that. But yeah, I thought on Saturday, I was like you, Nick. I was surprised to see Sorensen out and Gucci, and I can only think that he thought we needed to be a bit more defensive against Blackpool. And I was surprised to see Humphrey start. I mean, it was a decent cameo, and he scored a nice goal, but he didn't really, he didn't have a chance to add a lot to that Peterborough game. And Kasumu had been so effective, as I think you picked out, Andy. That was a real strange one for me. And ironically, we actually started okay. We looked a bit like we were the away team. They had loads of the ball. They've got a couple of 3 new players in there, and I thought they looked really tidy. And Ashley Fletcher, it's the first time I've ever seen him look like a footballer. Whenever I've seen him before, he's been absolutely dog shit. So, he played really well. But having said all of that, they had all the ball. But in the first 20 minutes, we had two really good chances. The one where Charles smashes it off Bailey
Peacock Farrell's face.
Yeah, of course. And then Charles made the other, which was an unbelievable ball across the box. And I thought, even my grandson Freddie could have scored that at the back post. Somehow Barley steered it wide, didn't he?
If he was 6 foot, mate, he'd have connected. I think that would be issue. So close.
We started okay, but they made that possession start to count. And I think, and I'm going to go all in and Kilroy now, so I know he's not here.
Here we go. This will be good.
No, we looked a bit like Grant. So we've been playing the same formation, haven't we? That 5-3-2, 5-2-3. But we looked really wide. That thing we've been doing in the early games where the wing backs were coming right inside and the wider tackles coming inside and pressing the field. They weren't doing that. The wing backs are standing right out on the grass now, whether on the touchline. Whether that's what they've been told to do, I don't know. But they were doing it both sides. So if it was only one of them thinking, I'm not doing that today, I'm going to go and stand over here, then that clearly wasn't it. And that was leaving all the space in the middle, which I can't remember the name of the lad, the number 28. Was he 28 or 23?
23.
Who actually ran the game for about 20 minutes. Yeah. They really took a grip of the game. And I think they're probably the best team I've seen down ours this year. I thought they were great. I honestly did. I thought they linked play well. I thought they were attacking. I thought the defence looked good. We never got to grips with their back 3 playing it out around number 6. We were 2 and 3 against 4 men every time. Never seemed to get a grip. So you know, I think we really struggled. I'll let somebody else talk about the goal, but what I did like was that after the second goal went in, Manning changed it and we went to 4-2-3-1. So we became way more compact by the shape change. The issue was the players he'd moved round to make 4-2-3-1 work were a bit square pegs in round holes. He had Balker at right back. He had Gooch playing round side of the front three. And in the second half, the subs everybody's loaded him for then meant we maximised that shape. But yeah, it was really weird that first half an hour, 40 minutes, we just looked a bit lopsided. I don't know where it came from because we've been so compact.
Humphreys.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right, Tris.
I just thought, guys, that you know with Kasumu, when a ball was being played to someone on Kasumu's side, Kasumu was there. Humphreys was always 5 yards off him. So completely agree with you. That ball, as soon as it went to that side, went straight into that 6. So they played in behind that front press that I think that front press for us is so important and has been so important that it then allowed them to play then up the field. And it just then got to the point where, for me, Ledson and McGuane just dropped deeper and deeper to try and make things more compact and to try and counteract it, but it wasn't counteracting it, you know, and then, quite as you say, we were getting picked off left, right and centre, weren't we? You know, and we weren't winning those in the last few games. We've won those aerial battles in defence, you know, without fail. We've talked about how good Murray Wallace has been in the last few games. We've talked about Joe Lowe being good, you know, Balker being good, and quite bizarrely as well, we got to a point in that first half where, you know, we were really struggling, and yet again, the only player that was actually trying anything and beating the lines and, you know, and doing anything with the ball was Balker, you know, and it felt like we were back in a Lee Grant team completely.
Do you think they're a bit worried about being exposed down the flanks? Because Blackpool, they do attack quite a lot from wide. They are a bit of a threat down there. You've got like CJ Hamilton. You've got players who can hurt you. Do you think we just give them maybe a little bit too much respect there rather than trying to focus on what we were trying to do? I think Joe Lowe was a big miss at the back. I think his presence in there, they're a big side out there. There's some big units in that team.
Yeah, massive.
And I think Bojan was a miss as well, been able to hold it up. I think Dion Charles started well, but then after those couple of chances, pretty much anonymous, really. I don't think he did a lot. He runs about a lot, but didn't offer much else. And I didn't think McGuane was his usual self. I don't think he influenced things at all. I thought he was really poor, and I thought Gooch had a poor game as well, if I'm being honest.
I think what we did do as well when we had the ball was that they were man-marking Gooch, Harness and McGuane. As soon as they lost the ball, they dropped a man onto each one of those because they knew that we played everything through those two. And as a consequence, the ball just kept getting given to Ledson or given to Feeney. And of course, once that happens, you've lost all the momentum, haven't you? So yeah, it's probably McGuane's quietest game while he's been a town player. And the problem with Feeney was he was our only real beefcake in the back three, and I think that's probably why he persisted with Feeney as one of the centre halves for as long as he did before he moved. Because once he moved Balker inside and put Sorensen to right back, we looked a completely different team. Once Balker came down and had the ball again, but he persisted with Feeney. I think just because you said it, they were huge, weren't they?
Yeah. I think they overloaded us as well in important areas, you know. So our team pretty much didn't know whether they were coming or going. You know, you make the point about Charles. Charles is great when he's pressing in a pack. When he's pressing on his own, he's next to useless. You know, so then you've got Harness trying to help him press on one side, and then Humphreys seemed to not know kind of whether they were coming or going. And then you've got, quite as you say, Gooch, I thought was pretty average. So you've then got Gooch and Mumba again don't know whether they're coming or going, and they started putting balls in behind those kind of wide centre backs, didn't they? You know, and quite as you say that CJ Hamilton and the other lad, I think he was on the right hand side, new signing for him. They had quite a bit of pace, you know, and so those balls that were going in behind weren't just turning it around; they were actually winning them as well. You know, they were winning the foot races to them, and we just looked lost. And I thought, you know, we got three centre backs effectively marking one player, and not really marking one player very well either. You know, the movement of that Obafemi, the movement of, as Gaz says, of that Anderson, Walters, Hamilton, just shifted us about all over the place, and people didn't know where they were going. They didn't know whether to follow. You know, and so that change then to 4 just put people in the right positions to then counteract, and actually we started to overload them, you know, in important positions. So down the flanks they weren't tracking, and we started to overload them and actually scored from both of the goals were from us overloading them in those areas. So, you know, I think the thing with McGuane, just to touch on him, he plays. He's most effective in space, you know, and so his natural game to drop deeper and deeper and deeper is to try and create that space for him to be able to operate so that he can then do what he does. And I think once you get that, and then Ledson drops deeper, you know, there's then such a chasm between the midfield and trying to, you know, work the ball through the midfield. Those two, I think, purposely need to try and sit as high as they can. You know, and I think that's something that we've just got to watch out for in kind of games, because if we've picked up on stuff like this, you know, teams will definitely have picked up on it.
Yeah, Jed said the goals, poor defending, and I have to agree. I know on the main, I was listening to the main Takes That Chance pod this morning, a little bit of it, and they said the first goal, sometimes you can't, you hold your hands up, and it wasn't too bad. I'm not sure about that. You know, I can't agree with that, because the corner comes in, and is it Husband who the bloke has time to at the back post? There's no one near him, and not only does he bring it out, he actually has time to chest it down and then get the ball in. I don't know if because everyone seems to kind of run centrally, and he's just left on it completely on his own. To me, that's just switching off. And
Wallace, it was Wallace that lost him.
But completely free. That's shocking defending. You can't defend like that. And then it comes in, and is it Clarkson? I think hooks it back in, and Fletcher. I think people having a go at Nichols. I don't know. It's hit so close and so powerfully. I think it's harder than it looks really to keep that out. But it should never have got to that. For me, that defence from that corner was really poor. And we've got to start cutting these errors out, because we're just conceding too many goals.
But we're doing it from crosses as well. You think how many times we conceded a goal from a cross against Peterborough. We conceded a goal in the 4th minute down at Burton. And all they're doing is getting the ball onto the 6-yard line and then competing for it. And they know with this zonal marking thing that if they get it somewhere in the mix, as they say, there's probably a chance that their player's going to be free, and they're going to get free heads on it. So it happened with the lad who scored the second header. You know, you see how many teams are trying to get the ball. I think that's why we were wide, because we were trying to stop the cross. So if you have a player out there that can't cross it in, that's the worry for me. If you cross the ball into the box,
loads of goals from crosses.
Cross the ball into the box. We haven't got a bastard apart from the Colossus himself. Even let's be honest, he hasn't been that great. But we haven't got anybody who like a Sonny Bradley who will just. Not that I'm a great fan of his, but that no one shall pass type of attitude. We haven't got that. We're really passive, as Manning said himself. When the ball gets crossed onto the 6-yard line, we struggle. For me.
Yeah, but see, if you're stood, you're zonal. If the bloke gets a run on you, bollocks, because he's always going to have the momentum to jump higher than you and win the ball. So And it was the second corner in a row, by the way. Husband had got free at the back post. So
I don't
twice
think that-
lost Wallace and gone wandering.
I don't think we go zonal though with under Manning. They
No,
are.
they are. You watch about the three.
Mm.
There's the three big lads zonal, and then you've got Harness and somebody
you see,
else.
I looked out for that, and I
giants.
thought that they looked like they were man marking.
They might have done later in the game, but then for them early corners, I'm telling you, they were definitely zonal because me and Killer had picked it out. We were saying about it. He'd gone back to it, which is a bit of a worry. So whether that was trying to deal with the fact they're all giants and he's done it specifically for that game, I don't really know. But I'm not hate zone marking anyway. I'm not a fan because if Emery gets a run on you, you bollocks, start you.
Mm.
Well, it's not work. Look how many goals we've conceded this season. It tells you it's not working. It's one of the worst records for goals conceded certainly in the top half of the division, haven't we? If not the worst. And then second goal, there's a long ball played down. Fletcher, I think McGuane's with him initially, and then he just starts strolling and leaves him for a free running. It comes back in. Mumba doesn't see the player running on the right side. Is it Walt? I don't know if it was Walters. Doesn't see him at all running in, just leaves him completely. And then it's a crossing, nice header for Anderson, who I think, to be fair, is a really good pickup for Blackpool. I think he's a decent player at this level. But again, it's just from a Blackpool. If you're a Blackpool fan, you're thinking there's passive movement, good ball in, good header. It's a good goal. From our point of view, you're thinking, what are we doing again? It's just such a simple goal to give away.
There is though a foul in it that you could say is 50-50. You know, the first thing that Fletcher does on Murray Wallace, it arguably is a foul.
Yeah,
and I think you've seen it given. You know, we've seen Bojan try and do it and get penalised quite often this year for effectively just running at the centre back. You know, that's all he did. He ran at Wallace. Wallace panicked and kind of crumbled, and you know, and the ref gave no.
The ref were crap. Well, I mean, he had no to do, and he was still crap.
It was terrible. The standard refereeing's a joke, innit? But then it's not. They haven't had a major influence on the game. I mean, you're right, Tris, but you could also say there was a potential foul in the build-up to one of our goals. From, I think Miller puts a leg out, their player goes down. Yes, it's really easy. He goes down way too easy, but you see them given all the time as well.
Harness, yeah, it was Harness, and
was it Harness? Sorry, mate.
Fletcher booted the bottom of Harness's leg, didn't he? Put his leg out and he boots the bottom of it. Which, I don't disagree. You have seen them given as well.
And then, as Jed rightly points out, in fact, even before then, I think towards the end of the half, they missed from a corner. I think there's someone at back post.
Yeah.
And that could be 3-0 before half time quite easily. He's wasted opportunity. Then Fletcher has a chance earlier on in the second half. McGuane completely just turns his back and I think it hits off his neck. I mean, that's shocking, that, for McGuane. And Nichols keeps us in the game there. It's a really good save. Otherwise, it's game over. And then we ring the changes. We start to get a foothold in. And then we get that first goal. And like you said, Tris, win the ball back. Lucky possibly not to concede a foul, although 50-50. And Sorensen puts a really good ball in. And it's a good header from Harness. You don't expect him to score many headers, but I think he's playing really well at the moment, Marcus Harness. It's the sort of form we expected when he signed. And we're finally seeing it. And then from that point on, you're thinking, right, come on, let's get back. And the momentum then swings, doesn't it? They start getting, like you say, we start overloading them down the sides. And Mikel Miller, I think, makes such a huge difference. His experience, his directness, his skill. And it's so frustrating because if the bloke was fit for the season, you kind of think, where would we be now? Because we always miss him when he's out, don't we?
He put that ball in as well, Nick, that literally nobody attacked at all.
Yeah, that was an unbelievable ball.
No one anticipates.
And I'll be honest with you, so frustrating because at that point, you know, we've not got the lads on the pitch who would score those kind of goals. And you know, we haven't seen enough of Wales to know whether he'd do it. But you know, even Charles, you know, Taylor, we hadn't had that kind of service. You know, that ball across the 6-yard box, you know, it kind of on the back of the defenders and stuff. We just haven't had it. You know, there hasn't been that that quality there, has there? You know, and it's frustrating, isn't it, that he's just so inconsistent with his injuries.
I think you have to give Manning credit, because he brought him on and he placed Gooch and Sorensen on the right hand side. Sorensen came on, I can't remember else he took off. And he put, it was when he went to back four, so he took Feeney off. And Miller originally was playing down the left hand side, and I think he was thinking he might come back onto his left. And he realised he was starting to really influence the game, but not where you really wanted him. So when he made the sub so he could put Miller out to the left hand side.
Yeah.
And they couldn't, once he started playing that, they couldn't cope with Mumba and Miller. They didn't know what to do with him. You got the big lad who'd come on, the big striker trying to chase Mumba back and couldn't. The lad who was the right back who was already booked, which by the way is what I think he would have, if he wasn't booked, he would have jumped in, and he didn't. He stood his ground, which allowed Mumba to go on the overlap for the cross for Ashia's goal. And that, I mean, that looked really good there. If you're going to go 4-2-3-1, you could play Mumba and Miller down that left hand side. You won't want to be playing against that if you were a defender, would you? But you know, Manning saw he was influencing the game, but not in the way he wanted, and he made that conscious move to get him where he knew he'd really make a difference, which is the difference, you know. And I guess that's the difference of having somebody who's been around a bit, who's an expert, even at 40, he's still a relatively experienced manager / head coach, and he saw what we could see and probably made the change that most of us sat in the stands would have made, which was get Miller out there where he could cause more issues. So. Yeah, the subs were great on the day. But again, he called them just right. As people were tiring, he changed them. As you said, the 4-2-3-1 was making an impact to us. So he actually then put some square pegs and some square holes. And once we did that, Blackpool couldn't go. And by the way, you have to give Blackpool credit, by the way. I thought, you know, although we weren't great in the first half, I thought they were. Against a lot of other teams this league, we'd have ridden the first half out. But what's changed now is even at 2-0 down at our time, town fans and fans around us are talking about we can still get back into this game.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have done that 2 months ago, would you?
No. Yeah, you've got to give Blackpool some credit. And they're one of them sides that always seem to raise the game against us, like Burton. You know, they can lose the last 6 games and then suddenly they look like world beaters against us. And you're like, where's this come from? But I thought we were a decent side. But second goal, Ashia, 2 in 2 games for him, 5 goals in total. I mean, it's really promising, isn't it, for a young lad? He's getting in the right places, contributing, and I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing him tomorrow. I think he deserves a bit of game time, doesn't he? Really pleased for him.
Yeah,
I think he came across really well in his interviews that he did, both the club one and the one Radio Leeds. So he's got a spark about him. He talks about he hadn't scored a header since he was 12. And something like that, and his dad had said that when he scored a header, he was going to shave his dreads off. So I'd love to see a picture of his dad's followed through on that. That'd be amazing. Fair dues, Dad. You've got, if you said it, Pearl, you've got to do it. And then right at the end of his one for the club, he sort of looks into the camera and goes like that. He's just got personality, and you want that, don't you? You want something, just a bit of personality and energy. And on Main Pod, they called him, you know, he's sort of an agent of chaos, and he is. You never know what's going to happen with him, but one thing you're absolutely certain of is that something will happen, even if it's him pulling his shorts down to halfway down his arse after he's just scored. I don't know what that were about, but that's the way he rolls. So I'm all for it. That's why he's there. He's my missus's favourite player, so that's why we've got Asher up there tonight. Yeah. So yeah.
I know the previous game we said, we wouldn't have got anything from that game if Grant had been in charge. That game we would not have got anything if Grant had been in charge. You know, the Luton one and the Bradford one, it was a fantastic rearguard action under massive pressure. You know, the Peterborough one was we had one moment of quality in a tight game at the end. But that was all about grit, heart, and determination. That getting back from against the team who were playing as well as they were at home under our fans. And Ian Evan at half time will be saying at Bradford to Blackpool players, listen, guys, this lot soon they'll soon get on the back, score another. They'll be moaning, you could hear them booing at half time. You just imagine what Ian Evan said, but that never got into the players' mentality at all. And actually, I thought it didn't get into the crowd either. Even the good old Cowshed Loyal had a right good go at the beginning of the second half, which was great to see.
Because there's hope,
Let's
guys.
acknowledge
That's
that
the difference.
as well.
There's hope they can get back into it before they want any. So it's hard to create an atmosphere when you know the game's over. Whereas now, even at 2 down, you think, no, we can come back and do this.
But it was straight over, and you could see him like looking, and he gave the old double thumbs up, to the, because when they were singing his song or whatever, but you could see that he and the rest of the team really appreciated the fact that the crowd hadn't abandoned them, because we would have done under Grant. They'd have been booing left, right, and centre, and the boos at half time I thought were for the ref, not for the team. But under Grant, there would have been double boos, one for the team and one for the ref. So, there's some good stuff going on down there at the moment.
Yeah. So 2-2, is a point good enough, guys? I want to ask you guys in the comments as well, because it's a bit torn, because obviously, look, we've come back from 2 down. We don't do that very often. It's really good sign, not giving in. But ultimately, we've dropped points against a team in that position in the table, in that kind of form. They weren't in great form. Yes, they played well on the day, but I think our performance dropped off quite a lot. For 70-odd minutes, I think until that Arnie said it, we didn't have a single shot on target, did we, in that first 70-odd minutes? At home against that side, that position in the table, off the post. But
no, didn't hit him in face and then post.
Did it? I thought it just hit post, did it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It knocked him out, I think. Or made him...
He pretended it did. He pretended he hit his head on back on post and he hadn't. Bloody Leeds arsehole.
But should we be disappointed, or should we just be grateful that we've got the point? Because to me, this is why we're not a top 2 side. Because you have to win. At some point, you have to win 4, 5, 6 games in a row to get... You look at Lincoln come raging back after going a goal down against Plymouth. Cardiff get a player sent off, going to win 3-0. They just keep getting results, whereas we don't seem to have that in us at the moment. We'll get 2 or 3 wins, but then we'll come up against a team towards the bottom end of the table and we stutter, and we can't keep that level of consistency. Am I just being a miserable sod? Should I be more optimistic, or should we be a little bit disappointed at the end of the day that it was only a point?
Well, that's a tough one, isn't it? Because there's logic in what you say, and as you said, they lost 5 out of the last 6 something away from home, and it was all there for us to go and take another 3 points. But let's be honest, 10 points out of Manning's first 12. Nobody, I don't know, not even the most optimistic Town fan would have said we're going to take 10 out of the next 12. No, but not even me, and I am the most optimistic man that I know.
Even Jed Robinson wouldn't have said that, would you, Jed?
Not even Jed. Yeah, not even Jed. But I think that I think what you can take from it, what I'm taking from it, which is the real positive, is we didn't get it right, but Manning saw it, trusted it, sorted it, and we managed to get score 2 good goals against a good team. So you have to take the positives out of these things. And when you look at the next 6 games, we play 4 out of the bottom 5 in the next 6 games. So I was looking, we're playing 9th, 20th, 15th, and then 22nd, 23rd, and 24th 3 games in a row. That is, if you're Manning, you're looking at that and thinking, well, 15 points out of that, you want 15 out of 18 there, don't you? You want to be winning 5 out of them 6, because coming up then end of March, we've got Lincoln and Cardiff at home to come. But you go into that, as you said, if we can string 5 wins and a draw together out of them 6, I can't believe I'm saying these things. But, if we can continue the kind of form Manning's brought, you're going to be really confident going into Lincoln and Cardiff at home. We wouldn't have been before, would we?
No. And we might have some players back for that, Gaz, as well. These players want more. Jolo, even Bojan, our favourite, will start to get players back for the running, because you would hope that we will get in the playoffs. Certainly if we continue this form, look out for Wickham and Peterborough and Luton, I would say. Looks like Bradford are slipping out, which is a real shame in it. But I think if we can continue this form, you would expect to at least be 5th or 6th in the playoffs, wouldn't you? Surely. And then it's all about who's best placed, isn't it? And if we get these players back, if we're going with momentum, who knows? I've already booked my hotel tickets for the final. I'm that confident. I'm already booked them, mate. Andy's thinking, oh no, that's it. Jinxters now. Jinxters. I had to go and say it. No, I had to go and say it.
I've thought about it.
I'm confident under Lee Grant. No chance. We wouldn't have got there. But under Manning, there's real hope there. We've got an actual team back, which is brilliant. So, transfer window slam shut. How are we thinking, guys? You let us know as well what your thoughts are on it. Someone put a comment asking about it. I can't remember who it was. I don't know if it was you, Jed, or someone. But who have we got? Let's run it down. So we've got Jack Anick, Nick Zanev. Is it he's pronounced
Zanev, yeah.
Zanev.
Yeah, he's silent.
So we've got goalkeeping cover there. I mean, there's not a lot to say. Chapman's gone out on loan. Zanev covers that. I mean, neither really there for me. Mumba coming in, obviously, he's starting to maybe find his feet a little bit. I'm still a bit suspect defensively, but I do like his energy, and he put a great ball across, didn't he, for that goal? So he is contributing. Cameron Humphreys, good cameo against Peterborough, not so good on Saturday. Bobby Wales, we didn't see much of him really to form an opinion. Hopefully he'll grow into it, bit of a unit. Hopefully he just offers something. Even as an option from the bench, you know, at Peterborough game we had Dion Charles and that rate, wasn't it? We didn't have any other forward options. So, and Ryan Hardy, of course. Now, injured, we like signing injured players, don't we? But someone of that kind of pedigree, that kind of experience, that's got to be a decent signing if we can get him fit, surely, for the running. That could be really, really shrewd, couldn't it?
Well, the Wales thing, I thought when he came on, I thought he did all right. He was a bit like a competition winner for the first 5 minutes, and then when he settled himself down a little bit, he actually got into the game, and I thought he did. I thought the young lad did okay. I mean, the Hardy one. I mean, I didn't realise he was injured because when I saw we signed him, I'm like, well, why is he coming here? And then, of course, it then turned out that's why he's coming here, because he's injured. But I won't believe anything Bolton fans tell you, because they're salty as you like about the fact he signed for us and not signed for them. So I'd take a pinch of salt anything that they're saying about him being failing medicals because he's on loan. So what difference would it make? We know he's injured anyway, don't we? So, but sorry, Chris, go on, mate.
No, I was just going to say, and the lad that they signed instead of him is also injured. The lad from Celtic.
Kenny, was it?
Kenny, yeah. He's injured.
Yeah, but I'm with Mark. I think Hardy could be a real smart signing as we come into the business end of the season. That could be a real smart signing, I think. He's that lad knows where the net is.
It's exactly that. It's another area where a goal comes from, innit? You know, if you're looking round those players, all of a sudden you want a goal. You know, it's just another area where that could come from, innit? It's big.
Yeah.
Which final? The playoff final, mate. Not the Virtu. Not the Virtu. I'll see.
So are you going to go then, Nick? If Town get to the Virtue Trophy final, are you going?
I'll think about it. I don't know. Too expensive. I'm too tight, mate.
Bastard.
By the time you travel down, and usually I only stop over, so you have to pay for hotel and travel. It's twice in one season, mate. I can't. Money don't grow on trees, mate. You know what I mean? I'll think about
Sell
it.
your body.
Why you three will go. What you cost? You're real fans, you three. Yeah. I probably will do, mate. But
I'll be tapping up for some free tickets from my mate who works at Virtue.
Well, send some of it to me and then I'll
go. Hello.
Well, as Nick says, money don't grow on trees, does it, in fairness, as Nick points out.
Jed knows a great Weatherspoons in London, so I'll get your advice, mate, for when we go down.
There, Jed.
Harry says a bit disappointed with the draw, but autos were already long gone. Yeah, it's just disappointing, isn't it? Like we're only in early February and we're already writing off autos, and after all the promise of the start of the season, it just feels a bit disappointing. But yeah, there is a lot to be optimistic about with this new manager. So let's see how we get on. It's going to be about getting better to beat Bolton, Stockport, and Luton in the playoffs. Yeah, possibly. I don't think Bradford will be in there. So that's yeah, never mind.
I think
So
right now, off the back of what Gaz said, it's about accumulating points in it, ultimately, and 10 points from 12 games, 10 points from 12 points is a great, we'd have absolutely taken that, and I think if we can get a result this weekend, it's just about momentum, innit? We how often have we spoken about towards that back end of the season having momentum going into, if like Gaz has just said, if all of a sudden, we play the kind of bottom 5 starting from Donny next week, and we go into, I don't know, back end of March, and we've won 5 games on spin. All of a sudden, it's like, oh shit, are they the form team to beat? And it has a massive, and that's why I think it's really important to try and go quite strong in this Virtue Trophy as well. I can't think, was it Wagner that spoke about, winning games and just trying to keep that winning mentality, or it might have been Corberan. It's that thing of like continuing to keep winning. So yeah, I think we've got to go quite strong tomorrow.
yeah, well, let's look to it, mate. Nice segue in there. And I think with obviously Donny, we don't know, do we? Thing is, Donny, surely they're going to be concentrating on staying up. They've got decent form at the moment, but they're still in quite a precarious situation. So I would imagine they'll bring a few changes, and so will we. Difference is we have a really good squad depth, and this is where it's shown in this competition. I want to see Alves in. I want to see Ashia back in. Alfie May, surely going to play. Get his match sharpness. Yeah. Make sure he don't lose that. Sorensen, I would expect to start bringing some energy down that side. Maybe one or two youngsters, possibly. I'm not sure. I could see like Ledson dropping out. Maybe McGuane. Bolker, I wouldn't play Bolker because he'll probably get injured knowing our luck, and we really don't want to lose Bolker, do we?
Foster's played every game, hasn't he? So it won't surprise me to see him come back in.
Yeah.
Is it a way to try and kind of look at different formations? Do they start 4-2-3-1? Type thing.
Probably be dictated by the players he's got available or the players he wants to play. Tris will probably look at who hasn't had game time and try and probably build a formation around that. Probably, I would think. And
then you have a bit of a predicament, don't you, with someone like Miller? Quite as you said earlier on, Gaz, you're thinking that Miller has to start at Stevenage. So, do you not start him tomorrow? It's a tricky one, isn't it?
I wouldn't personally, but
let's have some predictions.
I think we'll see at least. We'll see Vost. Wouldn't surprise me if he got Jay Sway back in. If there's doubt over Balker, then he might turn to Georgia Pender or the other lad who's centre half. I can't remember the other B team like that. I would say at least 3 or 4 B teamers knocking around, if not starting on at least on the bench for tomorrow. He'd probably go. He'll start them, and then if we need to bring him on, bring him on. But I agree with you. I can't see Billy the Bastard Sharp playing tomorrow night. He's just gone 40, hasn't he? Will Pearson play tomorrow night? I don't know. Is he going to be? I don't know how old Pearson is, but one of the reasons we got rid of him is because he was starting to struggle physically, wasn't he? So you don't know what they've got. So we'll hope they're weak and we can get through to the next round.
They got pasted on Saturday, didn't they?
They did.
Yeah.
What's the difference between an apple and an orange? One's orange. Don't know.
That's a
What's the
and it takes
difference
that
between
chance.
that?
That's a Malcolm Murgatroyd voice joke. That's a Malcolm joke. That it's from the other pod.
Jed says top and tail with Gaz, Nick. I'd rather walk back from Wembley back home than do that and save on the. Well, thanks for the suggestion, Jed.
Yeah, nice idea.
I woke up with worse, Nick, than you.
I can imagine, mate. I can imagine. You'd be lucky to have me in your head, mate. Right. So that's only the hors d'oeuvres, though, innit? Because we've got a big game, Stevenage away. Stevenage only won 1 out of the last 6 games. Joined 2 and winning 1. They're 21st in the form table over the last 6 games. Don't score many, but don't concede many either. They're one of those teams where I think they've scored 31 and conceded 30, so it's very even. They've only lost 1 game at home all season, though, interestingly. But they have drawn a lot. 6 draws, 6 wins. So it was tough against them at our place, wasn't it? But the problem is it was so early in the season. Everyone's trying to kind of find the feet. It's not a reliable marker, and their form has dipped off a bit since then. What we're thinking for this one, guys, it's going to be tough, innit? We can't, obviously, despite the form, we can't take anything for granted. But again, we've got to go and try and get the 3 points, haven't we? Cement that place in the playoffs.
Well, these little teams, Stevenage, Peterborough, Bradford, they usually quite good at home, aren't they? So, depending, I think the only team that beat Stevenage at home are Cardiff, aren't they? I think Cardiff are the only team to have done them. So, that's a pretty formidable home record, in fairness, isn't it? And I've never seen Town play there. I've been to watch a game there, weirdly. I was working in Stevenage and stopped there one night and they were playing, so I went to watch them. Anyway, it's a really small, tight ground. But, this current team under Manning have made a decent stuff, aren't they? So I don't think fans being right on top of them, pitch being bobbly, all of that stuff, I don't think that's going to particularly be a problem for them. I don't think, as you said, Nick, Stevenage aren't in the greatest of form. So I think, and they don't score many, and they don't let many in. All the games are, I think they got pumped. Did they get pumped the weekend or something? I can't remember.
Yeah. They got beat by
3-1 by Northampton last week, and then 3-1 by Barnes the week before, but away from home. Yeah. The last games, 1-0 Peterborough at home, 1-1 Mansfield at home, 0-0 Bolton at home, 1-1 Plymouth at home, 2-2. So they're all low scoring games at their place. So my guess is score first, every chance of taking 3 points in that game. So I think the key on Saturday is got to get into them early, get them turned. Let's try and score an early goal, and then I think we can probably go on to win it from there.
Yeah, it's just the lack of forward options still that concerns me a bit for this one. Have we got someone that can just grab that goal out of nothing? Dion Charles, I'm not. Having said that, though, Peterborough, we scored 3 goals, didn't we? So scored another 2 on Saturday. So it's not like we're not scoring goals. It's rare we get nilled, isn't it? So yeah, it's there for the taking. We've just got to exert ourselves, forget what they're good at. We've got to concentrate on what we're good at. We've got to go in there, command it, and take the points. I do have a bit of trepidation because Burton comes to mind to me as well, mate. But I'm surely under Liam Manning, we're not going to get a similar performance to that at Burton because that was shocking. Thing is, as long as they give 100% and try, like if they come up short, ultimately, even us moaning bastards can't really moan too much, can we? Because they've given everything, and that's all really you can ask for. But I think we've got a decent squad there. We've got enough quality there to go and get the result. So, shall we have predictions then for Stevenage? Andy, I'll start with you, mate.
Like everybody said, we Tris and I were there last year, so I think we won 2-1 last year, and I think that sounds a bit excessive, them conceding 2 goals in one game, but I'm going to go same score as last year, 2-1 Town.
Guys?
I'm going to go 1-0 Town.
Sean says 1-0. Tris?
Go on, OT.
Yeah, I want to say 1-0 Town. I mean, them conceding only 7 goals at home. I'm not certain we're gonna get more than one, but they've equally only scored, I think, like 1 a game. So yeah, I'll go 1-0, but I think there might be a 0-0 on cards here.
8-0 Town. Come on.
These lied.
Yeah, I think. Look, to me, this has 1-1 written all over it. But I'm going to be more positive than that because I think the performances have deserved it. So I'm going to go for a 1-0 Town from a corner. Probably a bulker header from a corner, something like that, and we just shithouse a 1-0. Just defend it, see it out. And that'd do nicely. So, guys, very quickly before we finish, Jed's asked what with Al's. We've already discussed that, mate. I think it will get.
Come on, Jed, keep up, man.
I'm hoping we're going to see Al's tomorrow, and he can show what he can do. Because I think there is a really good player there. I really think he could be important for us in the running. So, anyone else think Mumbury's poor? I mean, in patches he showed decent. He's not been here long, has he? Is that a bit harsh? I don't know. Defensively, a bit suspect, but
he's played. We've won 3 and drawn 1 at last 4 games while he's been playing.
Yeah, he can't be that bad.
He was here for Burton, so yeah, in his 5 games, won 3, drawn 1, lost 1. So he's doing all right, is the lad, I think.
Yeah, Michael Bottomless says 2-1 Town win. Second best podcast, mate. Come on, Chris. What you doing here, mate? Behind chicken and archery?
I'd rather be behind.
If we charged what they did, we'd be as good and all, mate. But come on, it's free. This. What are you talking about?
That's why we only turn up every 3 weeks.
Best free podcast.
Best free pot. In terms of value for money, yeah, pound for pound. This is the best.
Pound for pound.
And on that note, we'll call it a day. Thank you, guys, for all your great comments, as always. It makes the show. I always ask this, but if anyone wants to come on, just send a message to the Town Social on X. Come on and join us and have your say on what's going on. But for now, Andy, Gaz, Tris, thank you very much. And here's to Donny and Stevenage, and hopefully semi-final of the Virtu and another 3 points. Up the Town.
Up the Town.
There's a team that is dear to its followers. The colours are bright blue and white. They're a team of renown. They're the pride of the town. And the game of football is their delight. And all the while upon the field of play, thousands loudly cheer them on the way. Often you can hear them say, who can beat the town today? And then the bells will ring so merrily, and every goal shall be a memory. So town, play up and bring that cup back to Huddersfield. So town, play up and bring the cup back to Huddersfield.